Hey, it's a gorgeous September 21st, Thursday, and it's time for your weekly eBlast. If you hear chainsaws, that's because they're about going to take a huge dead tree that's right next to the rectory, taking that down. So don't be alarmed. If the tree comes crashing into the house, then be alarmed. But otherwise, I think we're good. I want to talk to you about something which is really important for all of us, not just in church news. Have you ever noticed that there are times, maybe you've experienced this, where worship seemed exciting? It seemed like you got together, there were songs that as soon as you heard the music began to play and you remembered the songs, that just singing them together in church, you felt like something like the presence of God. It might have brought you to tears, or it might have felt you felt excited. Or it might mean that, like, when you just went about your daily life, it just seemed like not just that the colors were a little brighter, but that there were God was seeming to be speak to you in all kinds of ways. Or it could even have been in a really hard time where you felt that even though it was hard, God was particularly close. Then there are seasons we go through where it seems just the opposite, where it's even hard to pray because it just seems like we're kind of in this spiritual rut. And coming to church on Sunday, we begin to wonder, well, it used to be kind of exciting in the old days, but I don't know, I'm missing something. Well, that's really common. That's just part of the long haul of our Christian life. But Jesus promised that that uh, that through belief and following Him, that something would occur that was like He described it. It's like rivers of living water would be flowing out of you. Not like you had to go to a river to get it, but that deep within you, like the sense of life. Psalm 1 talks about uh, that the righteous are like trees planted by the rivers of water. It's like that those living waters were in you. Jesus said that's a promise. And we know now that looking back, that what he was talking about was the Holy Spirit. There are ways that we can position ourselves to make ourselves available to the Holy Spirit. You can't like work your way out of a spiritual rut, but you can make yourself available for you can plow the ground so that when the rain comes, the seeds sprout into new life and new fruit. That's what it's like. And believe it or not, one of the ways that you've probably overlooked is that when you made your baptismal vows or you resaid them in confirmation, that what the prayer book is laying out were some basic ways that we prepare ourselves and make ourselves available to the work of the Holy Spirit. So we have a course that we're going to be doing this fall, which does that. It takes the part like the framework of what we call the baptismal covenants, which is what we say at baptisms, which we'll be doing this Sunday. We've broken that down over a period of weeks from starting on Sunday to all the way to the first weekend in December. That at the 9:15 services, we have a program after the 9:15 during breakfast alpha that's called the 3 R's. Resolve, because with the help of God, we can resolve to follow through. To restart, because the purpose of this whole program is to help restart our spiritual lives. And to refresh, because what we all really seek is the refreshing work of the Holy Spirit within our lives. When that's going on, the circumstances might be great or they might not be great, but it's the life of God within us, which just kind of allows us to see life in a different way. So, starting this Sunday, we're going to begin this course, which is called the 3 R's: resolve, restart, and refresh. And there's 3 components to that. Every week, I'll have a video, a short video, about 12 minutes, and that will take one of the sections from the baptismal covenant and to kind of move it from the stiff words of the prayer book to what does it mean for you, and how by employing this in your life can you do the practices which will make you open for a greater sense of opening and availability to the Holy Spirit, so that you too can be refreshed. The first part of that is like I said, is those videos, which will make available both at the after the 9:15 and then online. So the video component, that's a teaching session for every week. After the teaching sessions on Sundays, we'll have some small groups to talk about that and clarify, and particularly for you to ask questions. This is what it's really a lot of what we're afraid to do is to ask questions. But so all that takes place together in person following the 9:15 service, and part of that can be available to you by video on online that we'll make available. The second part of that is called uh, practicing the practices. The very things that we talk about in things that we agree that we will do are practices. The practices are what make us available to the Holy Spirit. So there's a second component. So there's the knowledge part. What do I believe? How do I understand this? What does it mean? Then the practices, which make us available to the living God who comes and speaks and talks to us, fills our lives. It's a different way of knowing, and that's why you have to do these practices. So every week we'll introduce a practice, and then during the week you'll follow through. And the third component of all this are called check-ins. I'm assembling a team of really skilled leaders who will, if you sign up for the program, once a week or once every 2 weeks, they will have a time where you check in with them. They'll give you a call, and the time limit on a check-in is 20 minutes. If your check-in takes more than 20 minutes, then you need to write those things down, and then we'll have a bigger talk about that. But you'll have people kind of like spiritual coaches who will check in with you, see how things are going, to answer questions, to give you some practical advice, and so you can say, well, was this a sign of God working in my life, or this prayer seems really hard? Am I on the right track? These people can give you some guidance, just like if you go to the gym and you get a personal trainer. They give you they kind of coach you to make sure your form is good so that you get the most out of it. So the leadership in this will help you during these check-in times just to say, hey, am I on track? Is this the right way of doing it? What's been your experience? What does this mean? Or I have a lot of questions, or it's hard, or whatever. You'll be able to have a person check in with you. So that way it's not just a little clip on Sunday and then you wait 7 days for another clip. No, you start on Sunday, and then you practice these things during the week. Somebody checks in with you to make sure you're doing well, to give you some encouragement, some inspiration. So all the three components go into this 3R course. It's going to be the basis of our breakfast alphas from here until December. If you are a participant, that's where you do the check-ins and you kind of do the follow-through and you get the whole benefit of the program. If you don't want to participate, you will still be able to participate on Sundays or see the videos, and there's something to get out of that as well. Well, what I'm hoping is that that a whole bunch of us really say, hey, we really want to seek the Lord because, we just really need to get back something we experienced before. For some of you, I don't even know what's this experience you're talking. For some of you to experience God in this fresh way. And for other of us to see, it's not about going backwards. It's about where is God calling me forwards. I'm pretty excited about it. And I'm sure that God will be available to us as we make ourselves available for God. Now, the reason we're going to this first week in December is on that day, that's when the bishop is making the visitation for this year in the first week of December. And you'll remember that one of the things that the bishop does is called confirmation. This time, what we are asking to do, and we want to participate in, is 3 things, which are all part of a confirmation service. One, if you've never been confirmed, which means I've never accepted, or I've never been able to come to a service where I liturgically get the prayer behind me of the congregation about taking on the vows that were made for me when I was a kid at baptism, that's what confirmation is. If you've never been confirmed, you can be confirmed. But also, it's a chance to, as it's called, to reaffirm our baptismal vows. So maybe you got confirmed, in 1984. Great. Well, this is a way that you're coming saying, hey, I need a fresh start. So you'll have done the course for 8 to 10 weeks, and then the bishop will be there and the whole church will be praying for you, because what you really want is not just to say words. What you really want is to get connected to God through the Holy Spirit. Also, if you've been a part of a different kind of Christian denomination, you've been Roman Catholic or Methodist or Lutheran, where you've already been confirmed by a bishop, this is the opportunity to be received into the Episcopal Church, which is really, it makes you like a full member. We're Episcopalians. I don't think it really matters when you show up at the pearly gates. I don't think they ask you to show a card, but as full membership in our church, we're Episcopalians. And so this way, we don't ask you to give up what you had in your prior church experience. We receive you. We accept that confirmation by the bishop. We accept that and we receive you into the Episcopal Church. So those three things happen in December. So I want you to consider this question. Do you really feel that every day you wake up and you have a sense of God's Spirit, so much so that you are excited to take time to pray? Do you really feel that when Sunday's coming, that on Saturday you're saying, man, I can't wait to get to church because God is always speaking, or God may be calling me to do something in the service because I can't wait because I'm meeting God in the service. I want you to answer this third question, which is, when I go to work or I go to do my daily routine, am I aware of God's presence all around me, such that God can give me just the slightest nudge and I'm ready to serve? If you're struggling in some of those areas, and this is what the course is all about, it's simply a course to help make you available to the Lord through these practices and getting your questions answered, and make yourself available to the Lord. And the Holy Spirit is promised to come and to fill you so that it feels like rivers of living water flowing through you. So that's what we got going on this weekend. There's a baptism. It's a great way to kick off because we're talking about reaffirming baptismal vows. So we've got baptism and some fun stuff going on around that. And then immediately following that, go right upstairs to the hall. Well, I'll tell you some more about this course, the 3 R's: restart, resolve, restart, refresh. All right. Thanks, guys. Look forward to seeing you this weekend.